Gonna be an
But
awkward stream today. Did you say something, Melting Man? Sorry.
I was just asking, anything new with you guys lately?
Uh,
Uh,
not really. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I've got a new profile picture on Discord.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
see that.
nice. I know I think we're live, so don't say anything embarrassing, but feel free to talk because we have a bit of a slow start today.
Yeah. I was just talking about how we are doing. So, as for me, I've just been a little busy trying to catch up on all the new Disney and Pixar films I missed out on, like Onward and Raya and the Last Dragon. And later today, I'm gonna try and get around to watching Soul. I've heard a lot of good things about that one.
Yeah, I heard a lot of things good too. I don't like the art style, but that's me.
Coco's a really good one if you haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, I got around to seeing Coco. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, hello folks. We're live, but not entirely. We're not well prepared as usual. I have last second adjustments to make. My last skit hasn't been finished yet. And Luke is a bit late, so guess we'll just take it easy at the start today.
Well, fortunately, I don't work today, so we can just jabber on as long as we want.
Well, you can, but maybe we can't.
Yeah, good point.
You work on Sundays?
I usually work Saturdays and Sundays, but this week I have Saturday off, which is nice because this week I've just been pretty busy doing a lot of early morning shifts.
Because you work on a TV station, right?
Yeah, I currently work at a TV station.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Although this week was a bit rough, mostly because I was dealing with a lot of car troubles. Basically, the brakes were going bad, so I had to get those fixed. So I mostly had to rely on my coworkers to help me get to work.
That can happen. Maybe I should
Yeah.
ask you about the layout of the TV station. Because in my later Sonic Robo Blast 2 level pack, I'm gonna make a level based on the TV station. But I have no idea how one looks like from the inside.
Ah, well, it depends on like inside studios or sets. They definitely vary depending on which studio.
Fair enough. Not to mention it's a Sonic level, so it shouldn't be too realistic. Nevertheless, it never hurts to do some research, I guess.
Yeah. Didn't like Sonic Boom have a lot of TV shows on it?
Such a small island, such a small little people, and still got their own TV station. Oh
Hmm.
well, wacky. Anyway, folks, this might be the last regular stream we do in a while because next stream I'll be having vacation with my family. And after that, I think one of the others is gone. Luke, or you, Captain, or someone else is gone in a month. Captain?
Uh, no, I'm anywhere.
Oh, okay, then it was Luke. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't have anything planned for next month right now. I know that this coming week I'll be busy dealing with a memorial for one of my grandparents who passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, died from his long battle with cancer, and of course COVID had to come and delay a lot of things. So, but yeah, eventually now you're feeling more comfortable with setting up the ceremony and whatnot.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyway, yeah, that means that next stream and the stream after that's going to be more filler streams that I probably recorded before ahead of time, so it isn't live, so it won't have an awkward beginning as this one. Yeah, we still have to figure out what we're going to do. Sage 2021 is starting soon, but not in time for next stream, but maybe for the second stream we'll do that one live. We'll see. I saw some very interesting games there, especially one with a car driving game where you still do combat with the other cars in the way, like a combination between Streets of Rage and Outrun. That looked very interesting to me. And like a weird Street of Rage 4 style game with Anthro characters, but then you actually do detective work as well. It was also very interesting. So a lot of interesting stuff I saw on Sage 2021. So that'll be fun to talk about.
Hmm.
And for next time, maybe we can finally talk about Spark, the Electric Gesture. That's a game that.
Yeah, you've promised to do that for quite some time now.
And the problem is, when think about it, I usually get very negative or like cynical about it, and I really shouldn't because it is a very good game, and I should be optimistic about it because there's a lot of things good. But for some reason, it just kind of never quite hits me right. Even though usually I like Lake Fepard's work. After the sequel is amazing, and this car driving game I love, XD Drive or something. But Spark is Spark 2. It was always slightly something off. But Spark 3 looks very interesting, so that finally gets me a little more optimistic. But yeah, I'll have to figure out my thoughts for if we're going to do that now in 2 weeks. I'm going to ask Luke or the captain if they have other thoughts. Maybe we should let them have a say in things.
Yeah, I still need to play that game. It looks fun.
Yeah, same here. I haven't gotten around to playing the Spark games. I know a lot of people say that Spark 2 and the gameplay from Spark 3 is basically just another one of those cases like, oh, this is what modern Sonic should have been kind of deal.
All right. Yes, Luke just told me he's the one who's going to Cornwall in time for 2 streams ahead of now, so he's going to be not available then. Then again, since we pre-record them, maybe he will be there. I don't know. You say something, Captain? Sorry?
No.
Oh, then I'm paranoid. Sorry.
I think it was
I
Luke.
think it was Luke trying to talk.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Yay, Luke is back. Or
Yeah, I'm sorry, my Discord just took ages to load up. I think my computer that's pretty slow.
Luke is here, and he's very robotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a terrifying voice.
Getting into the spirit of the IDW comics we'll be reading today.
Yeah, I guess he did turn to his own bot. Yeah, boy, do we have are the Sonic X and the IDW things we talk about very intense this time. Holy...
Oh, yeah.
It's very intense this week, or this bi-week. That's so annoying when we do bi-weekly because I don't know how to say it. Like, oh, this week we do... That sounds nice and comfortable, but this 2 weeks... That doesn't have a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Well, you could just say, like, oh, in this episode we'll talk about such and such.
Yeah, that's probably the best. You should just say again this episode. But yeah, so...
I usually just say this time.
Or this time, yeah. Very good. You're smarter than me. But yeah, so like I said, this is probably the last regular stream we do in a while. So, and then it's vacation time for us, or at least for me and Luke. Lucky us. Of course, we can't go very far thanks to Corvid, so we both stay in the same country. But oh well, even in the Netherlands and in England, there's still plenty of nice places to visit, I suppose. So, I guess we're still waiting for Luke because he. Or...
No. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear
Okay. Yeah. Well, what's for the quality of your? Can you go off and on for a bit to see if that happens, or are you deliberately doing like a Zombot voice?
Not me. I think it's my laptop. It's acting pretty slow at the moment. I could change. I could try and on the chat for my phone.
Sure. Yeah, we don't have to. I guess we can do it like this.
I'll go and chat to you on my phone. I'll be back in a second.
It's thematic.
It's very thematic. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I should put his volume up a bit. Let's see if I can do that. Oh wait, I can't at this moment. Poor Luke. Poor Luke. And Sonic Colors Ultimate is also going to be in a month, although I'm not sure if we're going to want to talk about it, because I don't have particular interest in revisiting that game.
I'll skip over Sonic Colors Ultimate, not just because I don't like colors in general, but also just brings back a lot of bad memories. Back with, back when Colors was still brand new, I got a lot of shit from people just for saying that I don't like the game.
Yeah.
That was the first Sonic game that I was ever disappointed in.
That's interesting because you're a huge Sonic Unleashed fan, and this game was always praised as being Sonic Unleashed, but without the annoying werehog. So, if anything, you should be the one loving this.
It's like a watered down Unleashed. There's like none of that trademark speed that Unleashed had.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
you're rarely allowed to boost.
Yeah, the only segments that I remember that are mandatory of boosting are some of those chase scenes with that robot that chases after you. Which, funny enough, I had a hard time
how's
getting
that?
past that.
A lot better, Luke.
Yes, a lot better. Thank you, Luke. Sorry for the inconvenience. But yeah, we're just talking about Sonic Colors Ultimate. That's going to be released in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Basically, we're talking about how we're not going to get Sonic Colors Ultimate.
Although we might talk about the animated section. That one looked pretty good. So.
I don't know. I'll probably skip out on it. I've already skipped out on all the official web cartoons that the Sonic YouTube account has done. So I missed out on Mania Adventures, the Chow in Space, the cartoons that were made for Team Sonic Racing. Yeah,
That's a shame. They were pretty decent, actually. But yeah, I guess we were officially beginning with our actual showdown. Okay, so Sonic X, I made a skit. I didn't finish everything I wanted to finish. I guess we'll just talk about episode 12 and 13 as one, because it's basically just a big two-parter. So I got one skit for it. Just a moment. And that basically sums it all up. It's kind of annoying how Sonic gets all the praise and everyone else is constantly ignored. But yeah, so... Sonic X, 12 and 13, the big two-parter. Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
Basically, the government decided to finally do something about Eggman as a national terrorist and decided to send its entire army after him. They want to get Sonic, but like he wasn't at home or something. And Tails and Chris, they all found an emerald in a field. So and the teachers like try to get involved as well, and then Eggman knows about it and decides to send a big robot that makes everything all windy, and then Sonic tries to save them.
Yep. And that then leads to the big assault on Eggman's tower. Yes. It's a very action-packed episode. Lots of stuff happening. I liked it. And I still feel bad for Chris's friends. Because now first Danny got an introduction, and now the girlfriend, I don't even remember her name, Chrissy or something?
Francis, apparently.
Francis, right.
Yeah, Francis.
Now it's her big episode, and she still doesn't get to do anything at all, just like Danny. She's just there in the background. It's kind of funny, especially since in the next episode you suddenly get another new kid character who does become a main character, but he wasn't supposed to be one. He's just a throwaway character. So he gets more attention than the main ones. But yeah, so hectic episode. How should we approach it? I kind of like this bad drawing of Knuckles at the beginning. Kind of reminds me of my own terrible style. Makes me feel a little better about myself.
It's funny that once again Tails is being forced to drag along a literal elementary school student with him on this dangerous mission.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a field trip.
Yeah, why not? They're just dealing with a terrorist after all.
Also, Mr. Stewart, Chris's creepy teacher, gives him these high-tech goggles, and nobody is suspicious about it.
Everyone just takes it. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. They're so unassuming all the time. It's an innocent time. But yeah, it's kind of funny to see him chase after Tails in this airplane with his stupid car. Like, he can never catch up with a big airplane anyway. And I especially love when, like, the government officials like trick Eggman into going after the Emerald because he didn't even know about it, and Eggman also just immediately takes the false message and just goes with it. So for all, if they could have easily sent him to Antarctica, to the other side of the planet, and Eggman would also just fallen for it. Apparently, I love how unassuming everyone is. Everyone just goes along with everything.
That is actually a very good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, I also love the scene that it starts with a commercial, and then all of a sudden the gun soldiers' voices come through the commercial. Everybody just falls for it. Good stuff. Sonic X, such a wonderful, innocent world.
I like that Eggman hates infomercials as much as the rest of us do.
Who doesn't it?
I also like the scene where
He just wants to explore Earth television.
Sorry, what was it, Luke? What is with television?
I was saying it's like he just wants to learn about Earth commercials.
Yeah, well, I have to give credit to him. He did do a lot of research on Earth, since he knows what baseball is and all that, and he catches up quickly to Earth society and all that. So I guess it must be paying off, although watching TV.
Another thing I find funny is the X tornado transforms for the first time in this episode when it lands in the cornfield, and the reason it transforms is so that they can look for the emerald without getting out of the robot, and then they immediately get out of the robot.
Yes.
That's wonderful, just because they want to introduce a new tech stuff. That's kind of the problem with Sonic X sometimes, I guess. It's a bit of a like technical porn. Like, they just love to show off all their technology, even though there's no purpose to it. Especially this episode, it has so much shots of just the military hardware shooting and doing things, even though it doesn't really progress the story. Just, oh, look at all these beautiful airplanes and warships. So if you love military stuff, you love these episodes.
Also, I think it's funny how when Tails somehow can't dig with the robot, because, like, I guess it's not as strong as it looks, Chris and Francis just go to the nearby barn and just steal a few shovels.
Because
They
shovels...
said they were gonna borrow them, but there is no way a farmer is just gonna let these unaccompanied children dig up their cornfield.
No. Plus aliens with it. And still, how pathetic must it be that a bunch of shovels are more powerful than Tails' entire Super Mac airplane? That must be stingy for him.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that the giant wind robot, or the Eggman, has kind of resembles
Yeah.
something of Meg
Look, you may want
Man.
Yeah, we're getting some real technical issues with Luke today.
Maybe one of the robot masters or something.
Oh,
And
Oh,
some
damn it! Yeah, because I'm getting some sort of red bar on the phone app. It says your connection is standing or something.
you gonna...
it's tragic, but it's so hilarious.
Sorry, Luke, I didn't hear what you were saying at all.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
Yes, a little better.
Kind
yes.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to say that the big wind robot that Eggman has kind of looks like something out of Mega Man, like maybe one of the robots.
Yeah, it looks like Airman a little bit, but yellow and with a bird head.
And the same gameplay technical to teach.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But then again, hey, if we're going to talk about Eggman's robots resembling other robots, the next episode is going to have a very blatant rip-off from an anime I've never seen, so I don't know much about it. But yeah, I love in this episode how Tails and Eggman have a bit of a rivalry going on. I wish they played it up more often. I mean, Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Lost World did a bit, but that's about it. Tails and Eggman being rivals isn't really played up as much as it should.
Another thing I found really dumb about this episode is how the president is just so openly transparent about their plans to attack Eggman that they're just broadcasting it live to the country.
Yes.
This is something you talk about after the fact, so that the enemy doesn't know what you're doing, and he's just broadcasting it to everyone. And I guess they have they have a camera crew at the scene of the battle recording everything.
Yep. Imagine they did that with Osama bin Laden. That would be
Yeah.
awkward. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's great.
You wonder why doesn't the president just nuke Eggman and right?
That's a good point. Why didn't he just nuke Eggman's place? Oh, I guess he wants to play fair. And he did have his secret weapon, Rouge, with him. Anyway, Melting Man really wants to bring up the fact that we see Amy's underpants in this episode. Not sure what to say about it, but very important to bring that up.
Oh yeah, she was being blown away.
That was a very unfortunate place where you got cut out, Luke. Alrighty.
No.
What's the point of Rouge?
I was just saying, as she was being blown away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed, that sequence. Very popular shot, so there you have it. What was the point of Rouge's sneaky outfit anyway? Who was she trying to hide from? I guess Eggman already knows about her, and it's not that there's that many Rouge-shaped people walking around.
Yeah, it's not like she was disguised from anyone. Like, she's with an entire squadron of soldiers.
Yes.
So, like, they're not in disguise, so why is she?
Would be funny if the Eggman's robot fired on all the squad members, but kind of ignored her. She does look like a soldier. Ignore her. She's probably in the
Actually, that did get brought up, is that Deco and Boko didn't know whose side Rouge was on.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
But, like, that would have been invalidated the second they saw her trying to help the people. But it didn't get invalidated until Eggman saw Knuckles. So,
Yeah.
it didn't go anywhere.
Nope. And it's also kind of weird because here the Rouge never worked for Eggman to begin with, so they wouldn't have any reason to think she would ever work for him. If this was after the Sonic Adventure 2 storyline, they might have. Oh well.
Well, speaking of Knuckles, he kind of pulls off a Doctor Strangelove in this episode by riding the missile.
Oh yes. Yeah, and speaking of Knuckles, he did pull some very hilarious faces in this episode, such as when they were locked in, he makes it look like he's unhinged his jaw like he's going to eat the door, and then in another shot he pulls this really derpy face like he's accidentally staring into the camera.
Sorry I didn't make screenshots of that. But yeah, Knuckles is very interesting in this episode. And it's kind of funny how in the first episode he's such a stick in the mud and whining and bitching about Sonic showing off, and in this episode he's showing off. Just shows he's a hypocrite. Oh well. At least he's more fun in this episode than he was in the last episodes.
Sylvia to the rescue. It's kind of funny that when, like, they decide to go, when Tails, Sonic, and the others decide to go to Eggman's base to help the assault, Chris, like, brings up that this mission is dangerous, but, like, when he's called a hypocrite for wanting to go himself, Chris would rather put both of them in danger than stay behind.
Yep, that's Chris for you.
And once again does nothing while he's there, so...
He's completely useless, yeah. Oh well.
Just helps find the plane.
Yeah.
I guess. Maybe.
Also, when Eggman himself returns to the base, Deco and Boko immediately start attacking him because they just catch him on radar, which means that Eggman has no protection against friendly fire. You'd think, like, his Eggmobile would have, like, its own ping on the radar, like, hey, don't attack this. This is your boss.
Yeah, you think so. Oh well, hope he learned his lesson now. But yeah, that was a funny sequence. I love seeing Eggman being attacked by his own robots for a bit. A lot of fun action in this one. Poor dumb stupid
Yeah, it's quite
Eggman.
interesting that the giant robot he was in to fight Sonic looks like a Gundam instead of, like, resembling the Death Egg robot or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially notorious how Sonic X ignores any classic Sonic imagery. So it much rather makes references to other anime than itself. Kind of interesting how anti.
Yeah, and it has its own phone installed.
It does. Well, maybe that's just in his Eggmobile because like he parks his Eggmobile in the head of the robot, which kind of gave me vibes of Six Majin from Beautiful Joe. But
Of course.
yeah, that itself is just Sentai parody, so it's probably just a reference to other Sentais.
It's a whole culture in and of itself, yeah. That's great, but yeah, I still, even though it's a ripoff, I love the robot design. It's pretty cool to see Sonic fighting a giant humanoid robot for once. Kind of an early version of the Egg Golem for later, I guess.
There's a moment where Knuckles and Rouge have to work together to break down a door, but they do so by attacking different sections of the door, so they're not actually working together at all.
No. And I was wondering,
just-
why did you just hit the floor or the ceiling? Because clearly the door was reinforced, but the rest of the material of the base wasn't.
Or the walls around it. Clearly the walls
Exactly.
aren't that strong.
Exactly, so that was very stupid. Oh well. Blonde holes. So, very fun and action-packed episode. I liked it.
Yeah. And of course
Yeah,
people
I did find it quite cinematic.
Look, are you there? It had some very cinematic shots, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, we lost you. What was cinematic about
Yeah, it
it?
did have that cinematic feel to it.
Absolutely.
But
yeah.
the whole thing, like having a do or die mission of taking on Eggman's base, a whole army attacking it, and Sonic having to risk his life to get those two emeralds, and then you got the finale, the climax where the tower blows up, and you think, oh, is Sonic dead? And no, he's all right, and he's now a hero of the people.
Yeah, it does do a lot of those takes, so that's pretty awesome. I was also kind of
Yeah,
amused. Sorry, yeah, Captain?
But yeah, it was nice seeing Sonic doing actually something heroic because earlier in the episode, people were cheering for Sonic after Tails shot down some missiles.
Exactly, yeah. Tails is the one piloting the ship, and Sonic just stands there and everyone's cheering on him. Kind of sad. The
Yeah.
only heroic thing Sonic does is off screen, and yet still he gets all the credit. Oh well, but that's especially a matter of the next episode. But yeah, pretty awesome. Darn, there was something I was about to say, but now I forgot. Oh yeah, especially since the baseball. I kind of liked how the characters from the baseball episode kind of return in the crowd. Except it's kind of weird that they only cheer on Sonic, even though Sonic wasn't that particularly of a main character of the baseball episode. If anything, the baseball guy should have had more of a bond with Tails, because Tails was the one he was actually talking to. He never really bonded with Sonic at all. Oh well, Sonic is the main character, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun episode. Fun episodes. Finally a big climax
Yeah,
thing.
and now Sonic has 3 Chaos Emeralds, so the story is progressing.
Yeah. In fact, I am very impressed how the story keeps building on it. Like a lot of elements that are introduced, you expect to be like staples of the entire show, get resolved very quickly. Like Sonic and friends. have to remain
This does
secret.
remind me of one funny part in episode 13 where Tails just, when he finally finds the emerald in the field, just holds it randomly, and he doesn't know there's a claw coming down from Eggman, who nicks the emerald and just speeds off with it.
Yeah. Really Sonic
Bye.
Avenger moment.
That was a particularly bad shot because Tails actually turns his head towards the claw as it's grabbing the emerald, and he doesn't notice until it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of reminds from one of Frob's Sonic and Brief animations where Tails Sonic was like, Tails, don't hold the emerald like that. And he goes, what? And he says, it just gets nicked.
Yeah. Yeah, Frogman's cartoon is pretty good. Tails. Poor guy. All right, shall we move on to the last episode, episode 14?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I made a skit for it, although I literally did the sound effects added to the last moment, so I haven't even got a chance to test it, but we'll see. Ah, poor Bob. He always thought he was gonna die by Hedgehog refused an invitation to a party, and that's what happened to him. So I think Sonic pretty much killed a couple soldiers this episode. Then again, for the most part, it was the soldiers' own fault. Yeah, Captain, you want to do a synopsis of this episode?
Sure. So, the president's aide is terrified that Sonic might get elected president, even though there's several reasons why he can't.
He's American.
Yeah, he's
Doesn't
not a
vote
U.S.
anyway.
citizen, and he's not
Right?
old enough. So he decides the strategy is to have a black tie party and invite Sonic as the guest of honor, so that the president can do a photo op shaking Sonic's hand. But Sonic himself can't actually make it because he already had plans for that day. So instead of rescheduling the party, they try and hunt Sonic down and force him there.
Honestly,
But-
I'm surprised they even gave him 2 days. Usually in the Sonic X universe, they just go, okay, we have a party, be here in 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they do.
Now
with,
know how big
This is
actors feel that we're being hunted by the paparazzi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sonic's plans were to go meet with Helen, the disabled girl in Chris's class, and it's actually very funny that at no point do they talk about the fact that she's disabled. They barely mention that she's in a wheelchair, which is, I think, very refreshing. It's very nice that she's just treated like a normal girl who can't go places.
Yeah, that is a very nice way to do it.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think Sonic and Helen's relationship is incredibly wholesome. I almost wish that Helen was the human companion instead of Tails. That would make
Instead
for
of
all
Chris, you
kinds
mean.
of interesting stories.
Absolutely, yeah. Helen is definitely the highlight of the human characters. It's a shame she mostly only appears in this one episode. And like I said before, she has a bigger impact than any of Chris's friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's pretty good. And one of the better examples of Sonic befriending a human girl. Proto Elisa Maria.
This episode's pretty great. It's got a lot of dumb, fun moments. I think my favorite moment is when the police are chasing Sonic on the freeway, and Sonic just jumps off the freeway, like you joked he should have done in episode 1. And the cops just immediately give up.
Exactly, and I would feel bad about making that joke. Sonic X already did it before me. But yeah, there it is.
Or how they have these hover things that's like something out of like Star Wars or Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising. It's kind of cool to see all the high-tech stuff.
Which Helen refers to as bicycles for some reason.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, that was a very awesome episode. I love it. It's a wonderful example of good sense of humor. I love a whole action set piece just for Sonic not wanting to take an invitation for a party.
So, Roger, you watched the English and Japanese version of this episode, right?
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
The food.
So, yeah, the buffet at the black tie party.
Yeah.
The press is very, very clearly drunk,
Yeah.
but like they obviously can't say that in a 4Kids show. So the aide is offering them salami. It's
Yep.
just an entire salami, and he has it the whole episode. It never gets any smaller.
Drunk of salami?
It's just, yeah, this big blob of salami, yeah.
So
Wonderful.
I imagine in the Japanese version that he's got like a bottle of champagne instead.
Exactly. 1969 Chateau Latour. Latour.
Oh my god, it's funny because like despite their best efforts, it's very obvious that the press is drunk.
Yep. Oh well. I can't imagine that they don't want to do that in a kid show, so it doesn't bother me too much. And I guess you could get tired or fulfilled by eating too much. It still gets the idea across that the press is just full of stuffing themselves and not really taking anything serious. Poor Tills and Amy and Cream. It's like they don't give a damn. Like, oh, other alien beings from a different planet, whatever. We just want Sonic. For some reason, they just have this obsession with Sonic only. Even though Tills did more heroics than Sonic.
I did like... I did like the ending where Helen was talking about her adventures and the way she was saying it, her parents must think like she's been playing Call of Duty or something.
Yeah. Well, I can't blame them. It was an insane story. But hey, she has proof. No, wait, she doesn't have proof that she was with the president because the press never took pictures of her. Whoops. Oh well.
Yeah. I honestly thought like they were gonna go the angle of like the parents don't believe her because her story is so far fetched, but to their credit, they never seem to doubt her, which is a very nice surprise.
Well, it wasn't really the point. The point is they were happy that she was happy. She was finally energetic. That was the point. Whether she was telling the truth or was lying doesn't really matter. It's just, hey, she finally has
like,
energy.
There could have easily been like a throwaway line of like, oh, her imagination is running wild today. It's so wonderful. But no, they just never seemed to doubt her, and I liked it.
Good point. Yeah, it's a very wholesome episode, so it's very nice. Yeah.
And speaking of liking things, I think Jason Griffith is really starting to find his voice as Sonic around here. Yep. He's no longer sounding like a guy trying to voice Chris Thorndike.
Yeah. Well, especially compared with the games, I really like his voice in general, Sonic X, because in the games it's so annoying. He always has this weird inflection when he goes up at the end of his sentence. Oh, Shadow, how you going? This? I can't really imitate it, but he had such a weird intonation, which he doesn't really have in Sonic X. So compared with the games, I liked him here a lot quicker. But yeah, he sounds very good in this episode. There's a lot of variety. He can sound nice and heroic and jokey. It's good voice.
Good episode for him. Just in general, I liked this episode. It's again, I really wish Helen was the main human companion because we'd get more episodes like this.
Indeed, absolutely, yeah. She's a more interesting character than Chris. Poor Chris. One thing I found interesting...
And she lives in a normal house.
Yeah, not in a hypermansion. Then
She
again,
is
I guess
She is way more relatable than Chris.
Although I guess it's harder for Tails to find a garage to work on a plane.
Has a workaholic father who's never around.
Well, so is Chris.
Yeah.
At least in her case, the dad is doing it to help her, not just because he's a rich businessman.
It's like heavily implied that the reason he works is because, like, as a disabled girl, she needs better care than a normal kid, so he has to work harder.
Yeah.
It's also kind of funny how, like, Helen's dad has, like, the most unrealistic boss ever, who just voluntarily offers to hire someone to make one of his employees' jobs easier. If that isn't the most fantastical thing that happens in these episodes, I don't know what is.
Very wholesome and realistically wholesome. Oh well. One detail I found funny is that even 4Kids didn't really know what to do with some of the Japanese jokes, where there's like one moment where Amy says something funny and it cuts to Tails saying something sarcastic, except in the 4Kids version he actually agrees with her, even though he clearly looks like he's embarrassed. But yeah, the original joke was kind of like lame. Or, well, it wasn't even a joke, he's just saying, like, Amy. And here she's like, oh, I agree with you. Which I thought was funny because his face doesn't look like agreeable at all. Oh well, a little detail I find interesting.
Alright, should we move on to the comics now?
I guess so. Yeah, good episode. Don't have much to say about it, so let's go to the comic
Melting
book.
man, I summon thee!
Bonjour, European and Montana friends.
Hello.
You sound scary.
Hello.
Okay, I have a... Let's go to the skit, and then we can talk about the comic books. Yes.
Dr. Eggman, you're infected!
Just my dentures! Yeah, it wasn't really funny, man. I couldn't really think of something. I think I would keep saving most of the jokes if I seen the full arc. But yeah, I needed to do something. Anyway, let's go to the comic.
Sandwich becomes a zombot. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Now I can only imagine that happening to Heavy Sandwich from Team Rangers 2. Sandwich, no!
Poor guy. As if this story isn't traumatic enough as it is. Because, oh dear, this is getting very intense now. Boy.
What's that sandwich? Kills them all?
Infect them all.
Sandwich make me strong. Alright, but anyway, issue 17, which is issue where the Chaotix get to have their time to shine in this arc.
Yeah, it's still doing the
Shine.
same... Yeah?
Shine is not exactly the word I would use. They are very much struggling in this episode, or in this issue.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is struggling. Oh well, compared to Team Dark, they're doing pretty good, so could be worse.
Alright.
But that's
It's
actually for later.
It's actually very interesting to see, like, these common horror zombie movie tropes being used in actual Sonic comics. It's really grounding this.
Like if George Romero wrote a Sonic story.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
The John Romero story. Anyway, does anyone want to give a synopsis, even though not much happens?
I'll give a quick synopsis.
Alright.
So, right, so in this story, it mainly focuses on the Chaotix dealing with the outbursts of the Zombots invading, crap, I forgot the city was. Oh yeah, Seaside City, which I kind of assume is somewhere close to Seaside Hill. But yeah, so they're basically dealing with the Zombots and trying to help survivors get to one of the rescue shuttles by the Resistance. So, yeah. So it's kind of interesting with how they're going with the whole, zombie apocalypse thing, which the only time I've ever seen that happen in any other Sonic media was in Sonic and the Tales of Terror, where one of the stories focuses on this mysterious meteor crashing into Mobius and turning the people into zombie-like creatures. Which is kind of funny because that was made before the Zombot arc came out.
Yeah, indeed. But boy, yeah, they take it straight here, and they give it weight as well. Like, I was really surprised. You really feel the claustrophobic intensity, like the danger closing in on you. Boy.
Yeah.
There's
stuff.
that moment where, while they're gathering survivors, one of them notices another one is infected, and that one starts like pleading with them to not leave her behind because she's terrified, and like Vector like traps her between some cars and like apologizes. It's really dark and sad.
And that
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Luke? Say it again?
I'm just saying, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And like
Indeed.
And like Charmy feels especially bad about it because like he's this kid and he doesn't understand like that the things they are doing are necessary. So like after they've rescued all of the uninfected people, Charmy goes back to try and rescue her, only to see that she's fully turned and she attacks him and turns him into a zombot.
Yeah, not a happy ending.
Very tragic.
Yeah, poor Charmy.
Though one detail I do want to bring up is when you first see the shot of the city when the Chaotix leave, they are actually at the crossroad let me double check. Oshima Street and Naka Drive,
Of course.
referencing Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima, the creators of Sonic.
Yeah.
Can I just say I love the city anyway? I love the setting, man. Looking at these comics, I mean, why aren't the games looking like this? Look at this beautiful city. I love to see this in the games instead of just Green Hill Zone over and over.
Yeah, I'd like to see a Sonic game where you have to fight against these sort of enemies.
Oh, that would be very dark if you were to play a fight against civilians.
Yeah. Another interesting detail also noticed.
Yeah, like
is
Sonic meets Left 4 Dead.
Right.
Oh,
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of mods in Left 4 Dead where you can play as Sonic characters.
No doubt, yeah.
actually, that's pretty genius because, like, Sonic uses physical attacks, so every time he attacks them, he'd get more infected, and then he'd have to run to make the infection go away. That could actually make for a very interesting game.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, so some fan game, get on it. You got a perfect
Do it
gameplay
now.
right here. But yeah, I have to say, just especially with the art style is amazing. I absolutely love the art style, and of course, equally in how terrifying it can make it look, but also how innocent and warm it makes it look. You get this perfect juxtaposition between safety and danger,
Yeah.
which makes it very effective. I love it.
Also, one little like gag maybe from the beginning of the issue is they're discussing the zombie outbreak, and Vector says like we might have a client, or like we're scheduled to have a client. You should be here any second now. And then the door bursts in, and there's a Zombot, and the SBO just immediately throws a kunai at him. It's so hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he's a ninja. He's always got to be ready for anything.
Let that be a lesson. Never go to the Chaotix to prank them. So you immediately get a ninja star in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does start out pretty jokey with the zombie bursting thing, and then it starts to get really dark at the very end, where Charmy succumbs to it.
Yeah, I think they do a pretty decent job in combining the styles. Like, it's very intense and dark, but it always has a little bit of a wink left. Like, I like that. I know some people hate it. Hate like tone changes, but I think it's very effective here. It works because you kind of need both.
It works.
You kind of need the juxtaposition between the innocence and goodness and the dark intensity. Makes it more effective. If it's constantly just depressing, then it'll be even more intense than it already is.
Yeah, I feel like with this one, it's much more of a better way of it's better pace with how they handle with balancing the different tones, so you don't suffer any, like, sudden tone whiplash when jumping from one style to the next.
Good point. And it's kind of interesting to me because it's kind of doing the same thing that IDW did at the start, where every single issue is just like focusing on a different friend of Sonic and just going to a new town with a new adventure. Except here, I think it's much more effective, mostly because there's actually more of a main story building towards it. Where at the beginning of the main series, I thought we were going nowhere. It's just like, okay, endless series of the characters fighting Batnex. What's the point? So here actually does work. So I love that we actually focus on the Chaotix and what they're doing in this situation.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there's an interesting detail where, like, the office that they exit out of them, we don't really see the full scale of it, but it's clearly based off of their house that's seen in Sonic X. So that's an interesting detail there, that's based more off of that instead of trying to make up their own office for the Chaotix.
Yeah, I did notice that, but of course that's the only time we ever seen the Chaotix Detective Agency building. I think I also used...
Well,
the intro of Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, the intro of Sonic Heroes, we only saw
but we
the
never see
inside.
them from the outside. We don't see the exterior.
Okay,
we only
yeah.
see the interior. I think... No, wait, that's not true. But I agreed. I noticed that too, that it's clearly based on the Sonic X look of the office. Except here it's in the city, while there it's in the middle of nowhere.
And I thought it was nearby a docks or something.
I don't remember, but I guess we'll get there soon enough. I guess we go to the next issue where the captain can complain about... Oh, no, wait, we're not at Shadow yet.
Oh, no,
Not yet.
First.
Let's not jump the gun. Oh.
Dad jokes.
But yeah, next issue 18. It's the issue where Cream and Vanilla are introduced, which is kind of funny how it seems like whenever they get debuted in Sonic comics, they're always in some kind of peril. Where in Archie Sonic, when they were first introduced, they're being attacked by Snively, who destroys their house, and then in IDW Sonic, this happens.
Yeah, they're having a hard time. Then again, if nothing bad would happen, it would be kind of boring. But first of all, man, I love the cover. It's very intense.
Which
I love
one?
the color use. Oh yeah, there's lots of covers.
Yeah, they're variant covers. Yeah.
Well, never mind. But people can see it on screen. Anyway, yeah, and again, the first panel, like, it looks so warm and innocent that makes it so much more effective when everything goes bad. Like you really sense the waste of all the goodness going to loss because of Dr. Eggman's evil doings. Like, I really love this art style.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode is really about Cream and Vanilla and Gemerald, and I absolutely love we actually get to see a bit of their dynamic because, you know, Sonic Adventures 3 introduced that wonderful, interesting dynamic between them. Like, oh, now I've like Emerald being their bodyguard, and then we never see it again. So that's a bit of a shame. I absolutely love you finally get to see it in action now.
Yeah, this is Gemerald's debut in IDW Sonic, which I feel like is much better than how they handled it in Archie Sonic, where in Archie Sonic he was featured in the new continuity, mostly as just to replace the fan-favorite Shard the Metal Sonic due to the whole legal issues. So the way he acts there is they basically just took Shard's personality chip and stuffed it into Gemerald. So he's like, oh, you know, snarky, sarcastic, such and such. And it just doesn't really work there, because, like, aside from the fact that it's a personality taken straight from an already established character. So with IDW Sonic, it's more interesting, where he seems to act a little more like E102 Gamma, where he starts off sounding like, you know, making these robotic commands, but over time he starts to develop more human emotions.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to imagine someone in a Cream and Vanilla household to be that snarky and sarcastic all the time. Like, I think Vanilla would beat that out of them. Captain, you wanted to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just honestly happy to see Gemerald again because I always did like Emerald. I was always like very sad that Emerald had to die at the end of Sonic Battle, and then only to find out that like he's technically alive again through Gemerald, and Gemerald gets reformed at the end of Sonic Advance 3, so he is technically alive. We just almost never see him, and now we get to see him again, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, I really wish we saw more of the Cream household. It's kind of nice. Wholesome.
There's this moment early on where he starts attacking Sonic because Sonic is technically a threat. And what's weird is, like, Gemerald starts to make a lot of sense. Like, he says, if you can reduce your threat level by running, then run. And, like, Sonic starts arguing with him. Even though, like, Gemerald is clearly in the right here. He is using only logic and reasoning, and he's just right. And Sonic is putting himself and others in danger by disobeying.
Yep, good point. But then again, Sonic is not a logic machine, so I guess it's all in character.
Yeah. And of course, the Cream also has her moment where she tries to
and
stop
also this
Gemerald.
This issue probably traumatized. I'm just saying, this issue is probably where Cream is going to get traumatized by what's happening because the mom being attacked and then her child is being like attacked.
It's very intense, yes, definitely.
Yeah, Cheese and Chocola sacrifice themselves. But that is another interesting thing. They brought back Chocola, because it seems like that was a character featured in Sonic Heroes, and that's it. That was another one of those abandoned characters like Gemerald.
Yeah, so it's nice to see all the continuity knots. Especially since, you know, it makes sense in context, and unlike Sonic Forces where continuity knots make no sense at all. It's like, oh, you're a character for no reason coming back. Here it actually feels part of the world.
Yeah, but yeah, poor Cream getting traumatized with the Chow getting infected, and it'll only get worse, but that's another story.
Yeah, poor Cream.
Yeah, and also, this is the issue where Starline might start to lose faith in his Zombots are starting to not respond to Eggman's commands. He was like, "Oh, I'll sort it out later," and and Starline starting to think that maybe he's not actually as smart as he thinks he is when sorting this out in the long run.
Yeah, I love that contrast between Starline and Eggman. Eggman is more agent of chaos. He's just using as much opportunity and madness as possible and just throws everything he got at Sonic, while Starline desperately wants a plan. So I loved seeing their styles of strategy clashing with each other. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, this is the first time where Starlin begins to doubt Robotnik in some ways, and I like the little explanation Orbot gives with his basic rundowns, like, "Oh, it's a 50-50 chance. Big idea, big execution. Sonic shows up. I hate that hedgehog. Big explosion. Rinse and repeat."
Yeah, I love it. I love Dr. Eggman. That's when Eggman works the best, when he's just kind of throwing everything at Sonic and just kind of like working with the chaos. I love it when he's opportunistic like that.
Yeah, working what he's got. Yeah.
Flynn does a really great job with Dr. Eggman. More threatening than usual and still got all the energy and chaos that I love about him.
Unfortunately, this is the moment I was dreading.
Because now we get to the part where Flynn doesn't get the character right, you mean?
Well, that too. That's the part I'm really dreading. But no, I was more talking about Dr. Starline losing faith in Eggman. Because like the last time we did this, I was talking about how great it was that like Eggman is being portrayed as this serious villain that like overcomes Dr. Starline's doubts, when they could have very easily just portrayed Eggman as this goofball, half-assed villain. And now they're doing exactly that.
Well, at least on the plus side, at least in the comics, the way it's written is more just Robotnik being more egotistical with his ways, especially with the whole like, you've ruined my moment, I'm gonna get something to eat. You know, it would have been a lot worse if, you know, it was like in the meta era where he's constantly being all self-aware and like, oh, I know these plans always fail, but this will work, really, I'm sure it will, I know, I put the screws in the right place here.
Yeah, I can kind of see your point, Captain, although I don't think they do too bad of a job, because again, Eggman, he's more portrayed as just like working with whatever happens, which it makes sense if you have Sonic as your opponent. Having a carefully planned strategy doesn't really work out when you have someone so ruthless and hyperactive as Sonic to deal with. It's much easier to just kind of roll with the punches. So it makes sense for Dr. Eggman to be that. But yeah, I can see kind of your point, like, oh, you get the usual backstabbing assistant again. But I love how that does make the threat of the Zombots more terrifying, especially in the later issue when Silver mentions something that no civilization exists anymore in the future. Then, like, Starline's doubts become even more, like it gives it more power to it as well. Like, ooh, those Zombots really are growing out of their control. But yeah, I'm going ahead of myself. Do we move to the next issue?
Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
Right. Issue 19. Oh boy, this one.
Well, I want to start off with positive. I love Omega in this issue.
Yes, Omega's awesome.
I always love Omega. He's honestly one of my favorite Sonic characters ever, and this issue just really exemplifies why. Because he is just this completely, like, logic-driven thing whose only goal is to destroy all of Eggman's robots, no matter what they are.
He's psychopathic and terrible and dangerous and scary and does stupid things, and yet he has a logical explanation for everything. Yeah, Luke, sorry.
I think he made the Dalek. It's by going
He's pretty much a Dalek, yeah.
Yeah, when he's...
I'm just saying, I love the bit where it might make a reference to a Dalek, where you get going, exterminate.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm kind of like I remember reading through the Fleetway Sonic comics on Beside the Head scans, and I was shocked that that comic barely had any references to Doctor Who. The only one I can remember was Tails saying the Third Doctor's catchphrase, which is the whole "reverse the polarity, the neutron flow." So it is surprising seeing a reference here, and of course it is a little surprising that we didn't see it in Archie Sonic, especially during Ken Penders' run, who's a really big sci-fi nerd. But yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Also, I have to say, I love one of the earlier panels where you see like the poor townsfolk running away from the Sonic Forces danger, and then a couple panels later, the same happens again with the Zombots. Almost a missed comedy opportunity when it weren't the exact same citizens. Like you literally see the exact same citizens, the exact same pose, like running for a second threat to kind of make fun of how dark their lives are. Because it's so tragic when you think about it. Just do not get a break.
It's a Tuesday again already.
Barely get to rebuild, and it's another war again.
Well, actually, no. Those aren't the exact same citizens that are seen.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that would have been funnier if that would have been the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, 1 week is this, and the next week is that.
It's just one thing after another. Yeah, poor guys.
But yeah,
I like Omega. He's I feel like he's definitely better written in the comics. With him, like in the games, he's fine, but it feels like they don't really go that much into him with how crazy he can be, being so gun ho and chaotic. So in like Archie Sonic, and especially here, it seems like the writers get to have a lot more fun with how much dark comedy this guy is. Like the whole bit where Sonic tries to stop Omega from trying to shoot a robot, and he holds it up in front of Sonic's like, "Oh, is this a robot? Well, I mean, it seems like, was it created by Eggman? Technically, destroy all Eggman robots."
nature and origin are irrelevant. I like how the people, the citizens that he's protecting, want to thank Omega. Sonic just looks over at Omega, and Omega is beating zombies with another zombie.
It's Whack-a-Zombot.
But I think we've avoided it long enough. Because
what about Rouge? We could talk about her for a bit.
She's barely in this. We can't avoid this forever.
I love his intro. Him taking a giant truck, crashing through the Zombots. It's, I mean, that's exactly the kind of vehicle you want when dealing with giant hordes of zombies. It's kind of weird that Sonic immediately mocks it because, you know, it's...
Come myself something else. Sonic Adventure 2 with the gun truck.
Yeah, it's the gun truck, even though the gun logo's in there, and heck, it doesn't even have the right colors. It's mostly just green, a solid green color for the most part.
Yeah, it's just a random reference without it being directly gun, which, of course, brings up the interesting Schrodinger's cat thing. Like, does GUN even still exist? Because even though Rouge and Shadow act like they're still agents of some kind of agency and doing missions and all that, but all the actual direct references to GUN are just completely scrubbed, which creates this weird Schrodinger's cat situation where technically they should be existing and they're being referenced to, but never directly. I'm really
maybe it's just the name. Oh, the company's called Gun. Oh, he said a dirty word. We can't show that to kids.
Yeah, I guess considering the for political reasons. Nevertheless, yeah, it's kind of irritating. But yeah. I'm kind of interested to see how they keep dealing with that, because now it feels like Shadow and Rouge are just kind of working for some sort of phantom corporation that doesn't exist, or maybe they're just completely lunatics and lost their minds and just working with a phantom organization that only exists in their depraved minds or something. I mean, that would explain Shadow's personality, at least.
They go so far out of their way to keep up Shadow's persona as this edgy loner that, like, Sonic is surprised that Shadow is helping at all.
Yeah, that was so annoying, because the whole thing is that you promised Maria to take care of Earth and help people, so it's just so out of character. It's so annoying.
Yeah. So, like, not only is Gun erased from existence, but also, like, it also feels like Maria and the whole deal with the arc, it feels like that's also been erased from existence.
I
Because
get-
I swear that there's a bio somewhere on Shadow from one of the Mario and Sonic at the Little Big games where they briefly talk about him, like, oh, experiment on the colony arc and whatnot. But they don't really state it as a fact. They state it more like a question, like, oh, rumor has it that something. Like, really? You're doing that shit?
Yeah, I'm really starting to wonder if actually all of the humans have been retconned out of existence, and that's why Shadow's now such a weird character. That literally his backstory is eliminated. Now he just is an asshole for no reason.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would
considering
explain
the
a
fact
lot.
that we have yeah, considering
Sorry, Luke? Can you say that again?
I was saying, like, without the arc stuff, he's just there.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that.
Sorry, Luke. You are completely gone there.
Okay. Go.
We are hearing half a syllable every 2 seconds.
Try again without all the gun and art stuff. Shadow is just basically there. Yeah, I don't know. It's something to do with my internet connection's a bit crap at the moment.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Oh well, can never trust those internet connections. Those internet providers. What a shame. Yeah,
Anyway.
sorry, we couldn't hear what you say, so you have to write it out and we'll read it for you. Anyway, yeah, Shadow.
yeah, poor
So-
Shadow.
Shadow's given reason for helping, his only reason for helping, is that the more people he saves, the less zombots there are. That's it.
Yeah,
He doesn't care about anyone.
he just wants to murder. He's pretty much just Omega without a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Except-
exactly like Omega.
Except Omega actually works because, like, he does have this reason for being this vengeful robot of logic and death. Shadow does not. He's a much more complex character than he's being portrayed. I hate it. And even worse, like, he pulls off his stupid fucking calling himself the ultimate life form in third person again. Because he says, like, oh, the Doctor's mental virus can infect the ultimate life form. Which, like, if that wasn't a throwaway line, that would be nice. Because, like, that is the reason he's the ultimate life form. Is because he's immune to disease. And then he gets infected anyway!
And it's yet again a reference to something that's been retconned out of existence. Because the ultimate life form refers back to Dr. Gerald Robotnik and all that. Well, I suppose they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's really stupid. But I guess in some ways he
And also, gave him a really massive ego in this.
Yes, he does have a massive
so
ego.
very. But I guess in some ways he was kind of right, because during his fight with the zombots, it definitely took him a while to get infected, unlike most people that would, like, instantly get infected. But, yeah, still doesn't save Shadow, especially since this is the issue where he says his infamous "cowards run, I win" quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even after Rouge tells him to run, not to run away, just to run to ward off the virus, because that's how Sonic's been doing it, he refused, and he just let himself get infected.
Yeah, that really is stupid now.
There is a difference between courageousness and stupidity.
If it
That
at least
was
was
the
some sort
latter.
of like a sacrifice, like, oh, I have to do this, otherwise the truck can escape, then at least would have been something. But yeah, he's just fighting them for no reason. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think there actually does exist a fan comic where someone tries to fix that particular scene where they betray Shadow his whole deal getting infected more so as a sacrifice rather than being completely stubborn. I don't know if that is real or not. I'll have to double check.
Probably not. But yeah, the big question is Ian Flynn so terrible in writing this, or is this Sega forcing it upon him? Because Shadow has been terrible all over the place now.
Well, funny you should ask, because I definitely have a
Yeah,
lot
I mean,
of things to say
in
about
like
that.
Shadow is acting like a bootlegged Vegeta in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the whole deal with who is it, Ian Flynn or Sega's fault? So, well, funny thing is, when I first read this, I was kind of like okay with it, because like, well, Shadow was really pissed off at first, and we all do stupid things when pissed off. But even looking through it again, it's like, yeah, it's still terrible. So, right, the whole deal with Shadow being handled in the comics. I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people about it, but fuck it, I'm going with it anyway. So, basically, when it comes to people complaining about Shadow being badly written in the comics, there's pretty much two camps. There's the people that blame Ian Flynn for it, and then there's the people that blame Sega for it. For me personally, I'm in the camp of blaming it on Sega, because with Sonic comics, it's more of a complicated process rather than Marvel and DC doing whatever they want with their own IPs. Like they go through the scripting, the processing. With Sonic, they always have to deal with this brick wall, which is basically Sega. Especially nowadays, where Sega has become a lot more strict in being much more involved with the process, unlike with Archie Sonic, where for the most part they didn't give a shit about what they were doing until the Ken Penders lawsuit came in. Then they started to become more focused. So basically, whatever they come up with, they have to get it through Sega first before they can actually publish it. Like, there's been rumors going around that originally Shadow was going to do his Chaos Blast move in this story, and Sega rejected the idea, which not sure if that would change or whatnot. But yeah, since again, I still blame it on Sega for this whole thing, because it's not really just an Ian Flynn thing, because if that's the case, then why is Shadow so badly written in Sonic Boom and Team Sonic Racing, which Ian Flynn had nothing to do with them?
I know. Boom has an excuse because it's a different universe and it's a parody, so there I'll have some forgiveness for it. But yeah, Team Sonic Racing or Forces doesn't have an excuse.
Yeah. So I think someone, or I can't remember where it was, but I think Ian Flynn said at one point of how annoying or complicated it is dealing with Sega and their strictness, which I think it kind of best describes how you described it, Roger, in one of those last video you did for True Sonic Spirit Channel, talking about how working with Sega feels like they're being so strict and so loose at the same time.
Yeah. That's so
yeah,
weird.
that's definitely the case with Shadow. Like, yeah, they can use him, but they have to, completely throw out his lore and everything, which, I don't know, in some ways I kind of feel like I blame Iizuka for that, because, he's kind of the head honcho, but I'm not sure if that's exactly his fault, or the higher-ups that want Shadow to be downgraded to just being a generic asshole.
We'll probably never know. I always take Iizuka more as a yes man and really some sort of dictator, so I think someone else is to blame. But yeah, it feels like someone who's a Shadow hater is just basically rewriting him as how haters would describe him at this point.
Yeah, and that's kind of sad, especially how nowadays it does feel like whenever a new Sonic game comes out or so, they're pretty much marketing it towards non-Sonic fans, and not to the actual Sonic fans, like, especially with how Iizuka keeps insisting that Sonic Colors is a good starting point for the games, which I highly disagree on, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, like how I always like to call Sonic Colors. It's the ultimate 3D Sonic game for people who don't like 3D or Sonic games. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a good game, but it's not a good Sonic game, and definitely not a 3D one. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. At least the DS version was better.
That one is pretty good. That's just Sonic Rush, yeah. Do we have more things to say about Shadow, or do we move on to the final issue?
I think I've exhausted all of my bitch fitting with this particular comic.
Captain, you have something left?
Yeah, so, like, Shadow tries to rub in Sonic's face that he was right about Mr. Tinker, even though he wasn't! And, like, Sonic admits that. He says, just because some bozo did the wrong thing doesn't mean that I didn't do the right thing. And, like, that's true. Like, Mr. Tinker did deserve a chance, but because they gave him that chance, bad things happened. But that doesn't mean that giving him a chance was the wrong thing to do.
That reminds me, the whole Mr. Tinker thing makes a lot more sense to me now than back then. Like, when we discussed it first, I didn't like it because back then it was still a follow-up to Sonic Forces, and Sonic Forces Dr. Eggman was still a joke. It was still like Sonic Colors Dr. Eggman, an idiot who trips over banana peel and all that. So there, I really didn't like that storyline at all. I was like, man, we're just wasting our time. But now you get this story where Dr. Eggman is intense and has like a lot of impact on the world. Now, in retrospect, that episode with Tinker also has a lot more weight to it, because now we actually feel the impact that Dr. Eggman has on the world, which back then I didn't feel like. And it's like what I said before, IDW really shouldn't have been a sequel to Force It. It really damaged it, because Force is just a terrible foundation. Sorry, Melty Man, go ahead.
I just noticed a comment in the chat, something like, oh, I've seen panels of how Ian Flynn can write Shadow well in Archie Sonic, and yeah, that's true, but again, that's what I stated before, with how Sega was very loose with Archie Sonic, letting them do whatever the fuck they want. So, for the most part, Shadow is definitely much better written in Archie Sonic, especially in issue, crap, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 171. It was a Shadow-focused story. I think I remember telling you, Roger, about that, but it's a really good Shadow story where he basically tries... Well, it's basically Archie Sonic's version of Shadow finding out about his past, learning more about the Black Arms and whatnot. But yeah, that was Sega back then. Sega now is just more focused on retconning classic Sonic, downgrading Shadow, heavy emphasis on Genesis pandering, and yada yada.
I guess the point of the commentator was that it's not Ian Flynn's fault, but it's really modern Sonic doing this. So
yeah. Then again, I've heard some people say that it is Ian Flynn's fault, but then again, it seems like whenever I feel like I've come across people that blame Ian Flynn for stuff that happened in the comics, they try and like, no, he's the one to blame it, not Sega, or the mandates are fraud. And I usually ask if there's any proof or an exact explanation, and most of the time they don't provide us any proof. So I feel like it's just people that just love to demonize the guy for no reason.
There's a lot of political rope pulling in here. Yeah, I don't want to point any fingers. All I know is Shadow's been terrible the past decade from all across the board. So even if Ian Flynn screwed up, it isn't a Sega definitely isn't helping at least. So that definitely. But yeah, so that was one point I wanted to make.
Yeah, I guess in some ways Ian Flynn's kind of, in some ways more of a trooper, because like, this is a guy that can adapt to any kind of style of Sonic, even if he doesn't like it, even if he, has to put up with Marine, who has a flaming hatred, or putting up with Shadow with here. This is a guy that manages to put up with whatever writing style he has to put up with, depending on what version of Sonic it is.
Yeah, generally speaking, I like him. He did a decent job with imitating Sonic Boom style as well.
I haven't seen any of the Sonic Boom stuff, or none of the... Well, I've seen one of the Sonic Boom comics that isn't connected to the Worlds Unite crossover, and I gave up on it.
I don't think he did the comics of Sonic Boom. He did a couple of the cartoon episodes, actually.
Yeah.
But,
well, I know he did some cartoons, but for the comics, I assume he did some of the comics, but I don't know. I haven't really gotten into it. I am a little more open to try and give the Sonic Boom comics a second chance, because hey, at least going through all eight issues is a lot less painful than having to sit through a 52-episode season of the show.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll do it after we're done with IDW, because we are speeding through them. But we'll see.
Maybe.
I guess we move on to the final issue now.
Yeah, number 20. Number 20. 5 issues away from their first milestone. Yep.
The big Sonic versus Evil Shadow one. Anyone has anything to say about it?
Well, I hate that Shadow destroyed Omega. I mean, I get that, like, he's not in control of himself anymore, and, like, regular Shadow probably wouldn't do this, not even modern Shadow. But it's...
I don't know.
I still hate seeing Omega destroyed. As I said, he's one of my favorites.
Oh, well, he survives, fortunately. He keeps his snark.
He does.
Yeah, poor Omega's nothing more than a head at the end of this issue.
So that trauma you were saying that Cream is going to have... It's already setting in. She's having nightmares. That's...
But still keeping a brave face. But yeah, again, look at this. All these characters being depressed, and you really feel the weight this time. Like, Sonic Forces didn't have any of this. Like, now you really feel the weight of the adventure they're in. And I'm just like, just going through Green Hill Zone, and Sonic just saves the day in 5 minutes. No problem. And this is really intense.
That's just because the comic writers are a hell of a lot better than the game writers.
Yeah.
Well, that's because that's all they have to do is write.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
The game writers don't really care. They They just need an excuse for levels to be made.
Yeah. Although I highly doubt that there's any big difference between, like, the Japanese and English versions of Sonic Forces. Aside from, like, a few translation errors, like the whole Tails has lost a bit. But yeah.
I also love how they bring in Silver's future, because that's always a question I have. Like, how does it look from his perspective when he goes back to the future? And I kind of address it, so that's kind of nice.
Didn't you like have a bit about that in like your Sonic Rivals 2 in minutes?
Yeah.
Had
Luke, yeah.
now.
Sorry, Luke, I can't hear you.
I was gonna say now. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, that was nice.
I think I've completely forgot what I was going to say.
Ah, sorry, we finally can hear you now. You've got what to say. It's not your day, is it, Luke?
Well, okay. Well, if you can hear me, this I thinking like, well, if with Silver from the future, one of this will diverge into some sort of like dark futures you would get from Sonic CD.
That'd be cool.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually really interesting. I can't believe I've never made the connection between Sonic CD and Silver before, and that there's like dark futures and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, and Silver could be from one of those good futures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that'd make a great Sonic CD sequel, is just a Sonic and Silver adventure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just a Silver the Hedgehog game of his own, yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Never gonna happen, but it's a nice idea. Maybe one of the fan games will do it.
Yeah.
So there's a fun little moment in this where Gemma is preventing Sonic from going to meet Amy, even though Amy called him into her office. He calls Sonic a biohazard, and then like on Sonic's way in, Sonic's like, given that it's a metal virus, I'm pretty sure I'm a mecha hazard. General says, acknowledged, logging under SAS.
Yeah, that's great.
Good stuff. Yeah, writing is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then in Tails' office, the head of Omega is hooked up. And he's even just ahead. He's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, he still wants to kill people like like they talk about how robotics tech for Omega specifically is a bit complicated, so it'll take him a while. And Omega just says, "Install me a jaw mechanism so I can bite the ankles off." I love that.
Sounds like something that Mario from Monkey Island would say.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was thinking the Black Knight from Monty Python.
Oh yeah, you yellow bastards! I'll bite your legs off, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, they love writing evil robots. Robot writing is pretty decent here. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like this is an issue where I mostly enjoy the second half, because like the first half is just Sonic putting up with the Zombot shadow, and the second half is more focused on Sonic and his friends having a bit of downtime in their stronghold, where we see all the characters reacting. Cream's trying to be positive and help people. Amy's really stressing out with trying to keep track of all the different sectors the Chaotix are dealing with their jobs. And then, of course, Tails and Silver are doing their thing.
It's really giving a lot of weight to the events, yeah. And definitely giving a very stressful and claustrophobic feeling to this whole thing. Like you shoot in a zombie story, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people didn't like it because it went on too long. Because I can imagine it's very stressful to keep reading these, and how it keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, especially with it taking place during the pandemic. But that was mostly due to a case of bad timing.
Or good timing, depends. It just only helps make it sell the idea better.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess we'll briefly talk about the ending, where Starline's trying to do a little more research, where they find out that as the metal virus continues to spread, Robotnik starts losing less and less control on, calling out demands to do stuff. So now they're just wandering on their own. So he does a bit of research and finds the Lost World Project, which is basically talking about the events of Sonic Lost World. Which I kind of find it interesting how in that flashback scene we actually see the badniks they're controlling are the Generations ones and not the stupid little chibi ones, which I really enjoy. Yeah.
Oh, little knock at Lost World. I didn't even notice that. But yeah. The Zeddy coming back. But hey, gotta give them credit. At least it makes sense for the Zeddy to come back this time, unlike in the games where they have no reason to be there at all.
Yeah, so they're definitely teasing of the introduction of the Deadly Six in the IDW Sonic universe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because this is like the first time it feels like the Deadly Six's appearance has ever been justified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, not even in their own game of Sonic Lost Worlds do they feel necessary.
Yeah, in fact, like, the way that Starline describes the Lost World project is basically a better way of summing up the story in Sonic Lost World. So yeah, don't play the game, just read this comic to get the story of Lost World.
See,
Yeah, I just feel like six are better written in these comics than they do in the game.
Yeah.
Hence why a lot of people want Ian Flynn to write for the video games. Probably never going to happen, but...
Yeah, it probably won't gonna happen, but who knows? Maybe he'll write stories for the upcoming Sonic Prime TV show, like he did for a few episodes of Boom.
At least he's writing an encyclopedia now, and I'm really curious if the human's gonna show up in it, because I never really expected it to be retconned.
Yeah, that Encyclopedia book, which we still have to wait a while because it won't be out until November.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, guess that completes our discussion for today.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's it's just one of those, the whole IDW segment we covered today is definitely one of those half good, half bad deals.
Well, all good except Shadow.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it's a big bad one. Yeah, I hope the backlash was big enough that someone at Sega wakes up, but I doubt it. They have been doubling down on all their bad decisions lately, so...
Fingers crossed.
We'll see, but I fear Shadow is doomed. They just really love to turn him into an asshole now.
Let's just say I have a lot more faith in all the official Sonic media that aren't the games. So I have more interest for the comics, the Sonic Prime TV show, and even the Sonic Boom movie, which, in my personal opinion, I think that the 2020 Sonic the Hedgehog film is... I forgot what I was about to say.
Yeah, you and your... bad luck with your opinion of the movie.
I'm starting to lose you there. Bad connection.
Well, it's been over a year since I've seen the film, so yeah, it honestly has been a while since I've watched it.
But like, imagine if the Sonic live-action movies get Shadow right. Wouldn't that just be amazing? Like, complete vindication, and maybe it would even get Sega to realize, oh crap, people actually care about this character genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we can hope.
And hopefully he doesn't sound like a pirate.
Yeah, still being voiced by Kurt Thurton. Like, no offense to the guy, but it seems like with him voice acting, I think he's just better off just voicing Sayax from the Kingdom Hearts franchise and whatever anime character he feels like doing.
I think he's great as Kisame from Naruto. Because it's just Shadow's voice, but for an actually evil character.
Yeah.
Indeed, makes a lot more sense. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah. Guess we're done.
I guess so.
So, see you in 2 weeks. We'll discuss what we're going to do. But it's going to be pre-recorded and a bit weird because I'm be on vacation at that time.
Yeah, at least it'll give us some time to plan out for what we're doing for the IDW stuff, because we're eventually going to have to cover the 2020 annual special, which takes place during the Metal Virus arc, which has a lot of stories connected to it.
Oh, really? Oh, so that's in the middle of this whole thing. Oh, do you have to plan around that too? All right, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you
Hopefully
in
Luke has a
that
better
See you in 2
connection.
weeks.
And as Luke would say,
Yeah,
cheerio.
I'll see if I can sort out my laptop or my internet connection by that time.
We'll see. Everyone can have a bad week. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already had my bad week.
Oh well. Well, see you everyone.
Goodbye.